Good day, class. This is Teacher Adam, and today we're going to tackle about listening strategies. Before we proceed to our proper discussion, let us have our learning objective first. This is, these are our learning objectives. First is the end of the lesson. You are expected to identify two strategies of listening strategies. Appreciate the importance of listening by analyzing short text, listen to, and apply the strategies by creating a new scenario. Grab a pen and paper and try to answer this one. Just put a check and number your scratch paper or paper from 1 to 10. Okay? Put a check beside the number that you have listened to already. Radio based news programs, podcasts, radio commercials, OPM songs, public announcements, recorded speeches, lesson recordings, recorded stories, radio weather forecasts, and audiobooks. So just put a check beside the number to um, what channels that you have already listened or you've already listened to. All right. So when we say learning strategies, it is actually strategies on how you are going to understand a certain text or um, listen or get the idea how you're going to comprehend a certain text or speech that you have listened. So there are strategies. So meaning to say it is actually techniques which contribute directly to the comprehension and recall of listening inputs are called listening strategies. There are factors in choosing what listening strategy to be used. The first factor is the topic, type of listening materials, purpose. So these are the two major listening strategies that you need to discover in order for you to understand a certain text. First one is we have the top down listening strategy. So what is actually top down? So a top down is actually also known as listener based strategies. The listener uses background knowledge of the topic. Okay. So when you read a certain text, in order for you to understand the certain text or a certain audio, you are actually using your background knowledge or prior knowledge in order for you to understand what he or she is saying to you. Situation or text, when you say situation or text, you're actually basing your interpretation towards the situation that you are familiar with. Okay. Next is the type of text. Is it English, Filipino, or any other um, type of text? Okay. Language. The listener already knows a fair amount topic and able to relate to his or her previous knowledge or schema. So when you say schema, it is actually a previous knowledge when you are listening to a certain text. So, in order for you to understand what he or she is saying to you, you are referring your previous knowledge, or you are using your previous knowledge to understand the text, or the language, or what do you call this one, the what is the text all about. So these are the examples of top-down strategies. So when we say top-down, so listening to the main idea. So these are the examples of top-down strategies. So when you hear something, so you need to listen to the main idea in order for you to understand what the text is saying. Second is making predictions. So when you are predicting something that will happen, so it is actually a top-down strategy. Next is drawing inference. When we say drawing inference, so it is somewhat similar to making predictions. You are actually um, drawing inference. What is your what do you call this one? What is your vision or future vision towards a certain what do you call this one? Your understanding of a certain situation. Like for example, a person is actually sweating, so you are drawing and you are inferring to the person that he came from a long run, a very long run. That is why he is very sweat, or maybe he had her or his exercise. That is actually drawing inference. So you are actually using a top-down strategy for that. Next is summarizing. So when you summarize a certain text or a certain audio, so you are actually getting the main gist of what what was the text all about. Okay, so basically you get the um, main idea of the text. So these are example scenario of a top down. Okay, so when we say an example of scenario of a top down strategy, so here it is. During your recess time, your classmate tells his her experience about the earthquake that she experienced. You can relate and understand what she says because you also experience earthquake and you already have your prior schema. So when you are actually uh, when your classmate is telling you that this and that experiences that she or he had during the earthquake, using a top-down strategy, you are able to respond to his or her uh, what do we call this one? His or her discourse, or yes, the way she or he tells you the story, you actually reply or react because you have already experienced that one, and that experiences is actually called schema or prior knowledge. Okay, so you understand what he or she is saying because you have already experienced that one. You have your prior schema. So we have also the second major strategy when we are listening to a certain text or audio. So this is actually called bottom up, from bottom to up. So when we say bottom up, it is actually also known as text-based strategies. So when we say text-based strategies, you are referring your interpretation to the text itself. Okay. The listeners attempt to make sense of a language sound by sound or word by word with less use of background knowledge. So the listener is actually referring his or her interpretation to the language as sound. Sound is also called phoneme by sound or word by word with less use of background knowledge. So you understand a certain word, word by word, you understand what is the meaning of that, and you come up with a certain understanding towards that kind of strategy. So it is actually based on the text itself. The listener relies on the language in the message, for example, words, sounds, and grammar to create meaning. So, as what I have said, you interpret or you decode what is the meaning of the words, the sound, and the grammar to create a meaning. So, that is bottom up. Examples of bottom up is actually are actually listening to specific details. So, when you listen to a specific details, when someone is telling you something, so you need to get the specific details of that. That is bottom up. Recognizing word order patterns. So when you try to listen to a certain text and you get or you have noticed a certain pattern, so you are creating a certain uh, you are creating a certain interpretation that this is what he or she is trying to tell, okay, or the text is trying to tell to me. That is the recognizing word order patterns. Another one is recognizing cognates or origin. So when we say cognates or origin, it is the where the word came from, the origin of the word. Okay, like for example, the word behave. What is the origin of that? Is it have, or you try to get the cognates or origin of that word in order for you to what do you call this one? Understand a certain text. Okay, recognizing word sounds. So bottom up is somewhat to do with recognizing a word sound. Next is this is the example scenario of the bottom up strategy. So, like for example, your classmates invited you to go to his or her birthday, but you don't know yet his or her house. So your classmates tells you exactly where her or his house is, and you listen carefully to specific details. So when you say bottom up strategies, when you try to listen carefully to what the other is saying, so you listen to the what do you call this one, to specific details, you're actually using a bottom up strategies. Okay, specific details, that is bottom up. Next is we are going to have a quick review. So the top down strategy uses prior knowledge to extend certain scenarios or topic. Okay, so when we say top down, it involves schema, prior knowledge. Next is the bottom up. The strategy depends on the sound and the words you hear to make sense of what you are listening to. In short, it uses language and message. Okay, so when you are actually getting the idea or interpreting the main idea of the text, so when you are looking to the specific details, the word patterns, the sound, the language itself, so that is actually bottom up. Okay, so let's practice what you have understand. So get a one half sheet of paper crosswise. So you, or yes, one half sheet of paper crosswise, and try to answer this one. Grab a pen and ball pen. Just pause if you can if you want. Activity 1, write whether the strategy below is a top down or bottom up. Write your answer in the comment section. Make sure to comment your answer in the comment section. Write activity 1. Taking down notes. Is it bottom up or top down? Number 2, listening for specific details. Number 3, identifying the speaker. Number 4, summarizing. And number 5, drawing inference. Okay, let's proceed. And this one, you try to answer this one. So, activity 2, examine and identify whether a top down or bottom up listening strategy is being shown or applied in each scenario. So, you try to answer this one at the back of your paper. Okay, so just write whether is it top down or bottom up. Don't forget to comment your answer below in this activity too also. So number 1, Sir Adam, your English teacher, asked you to read some information about a certain topic. Then he instructed you to listen to a recorded material to find out whether or not the same points were mentioned. So you answer that one. Number 2, your classmate tries to explain how you can go on a trip to Palawan for the first time. You make sure you don't miss out any important details and instruction about the trip. What is that? Is it bottom up or top down? You comment your answer on the comment section below. Number 3, in one of your classes, your teacher asks you to listen to a pre-recorded conversation and identify whether the conversation took place. Make sure you put the activity 1 and activity 2 together, just one comment, okay? And I'll check that one in the comment section. Number 4, your mother gave you a call and you were asked to buy some item in the grocery store. Since you were not familiar with the item she cited, you made sure you remember specific details she mentioned. What is that? Is it bottom up or top down? Number 5, while listening to a lecture, you saw one of your classmates taking down notes. This classmate of yours also made a word map to connect those words and phrases that she listened. What do you call that one? Okay. Right after you have finished answering, just comment below one answer. Okay. Activity 1 and the activity 2. So that I will check that one and give you your score. Okay. So how about this one? Our last assessment. Okay. So you try to answer this one. Okay. Create a scenario that shows the application of either bottom up or top down listening strategies, minimum of 5 sentences and maximum of 10 sentences. Write it in the comment section too. Okay. So 3, activity 1, activity 2, and this one, the last one. Okay. So you write a certain scenario and right you after you have finished answering, you can submit this one to your teacher in your respective school so that they will check whether your output is correct or wrong. And lastly, don't forget to hit like and subscribe class, or hit like and follow if you are watching through Facebook. Okay, this is Teacher Adam. Thank you for listening and goodbye.